And of course, if you've got something happening very fast that you don't understand, one of the first responses is to say, let's just regulate this out. Let's say, as I think it was New York City back in January, February, banned its use.
In November 2022, ChatGPT was released by OpenAI, and in just 6 months, the artificial intelligence chatbot has captivated the minds of hundreds of millions of people around the world. ChatGPT is an AI chat box which gained prominence for how it's able to give articulate answers to questions. Dr. Steve Watson, Associate Professor at University of Cambridge, explained how ChatGPT uses pattern recognition to answer questions.
I think the way to understand this is when it's allowed to look at publicly available text, what it does, it's looking for any patterns within the text. So those might be like just patterns of letters or syllables or spaces, sentence structures, grammar that we're familiar with, or informal grammars. And if there has been sufficient reading across languages, as I explained before we started recording, it has a capability of translating. So it has quite a capacity to recognize patterns that exist in text.
ChatGPT, with its human-like response, has made coursework a virtually impossible task, according to a report from education think tank EDSK. The report from the think tank says the advent of ChatGPT is a significant threat to the integrity of formal assessments in this country and elsewhere. Plagiarism has always been a risk to some extent, especially for coursework-style tasks, but establishing for certain whether a student produced the work that they submitted has now become a virtually impossible task for teachers, leaders, and exam boards. Consequently, it would be unwise to increase the proportion of coursework or similar assessments into our high-stakes system, because there's no realistic prospect of preventing widespread malpractice. However, Dr. Watson emphasized the benefits and other capabilities of the AI chatbot, describing it as a tool for inclusion.
We're already finding that for students, for instance, with what would be described as neurodiversity, so a range of dyslexias, attention deficit disorders, researchers in their area saying that the challenges for those students is often they have the ideas, but it's finding a way of structuring that into the form that's needed to be successful in whatever educational environment, or even in a working environment, even like in media, to get those ideas into a form to share. So this has been potentially a huge tool for inclusion.
AI chatbots and assistants have been in use for years in the palm of our hands, such as Alexa and Siri, but in the last couple of years the answers and its ability has exponentially risen, placing doubts on education and future job prospects for young individuals. According to PwC, automation is going to boost global GDP by $15 trillion, but will have a significant impact on jobs. Around 30% of jobs would be at risk of automation by the mid-2030s, and if you're a worker with a low education, that rises to 44%. Just this year, BT has revealed plans to slash up to 55,000 jobs, with around 10,000 of the cuts coming from what it called automation and digitization, including in customer services by 2030. Dr. Watson says that although automation is inevitable for certain industries in the far future, as some are already experiencing it, however, a lot of our interaction in education and in certain jobs require human interaction.
The one thing we're certain it's going to be embedded into a lot of what we do, work and our lives, and in many beneficial ways. But we're also, like any technology, from the stone axe onwards, they get used for good things and bad things. So, it's human beings who do that. Whether we'll just be interfacing entirely with machines, I don't think so, because really, in education and a lot of our interactions in work rely on human interaction. But what will happen is that those interactions will often be mediated by technology, just to help us try and understand a different viewpoint that somebody else is explaining that we don't really understand.
As the world moves towards digital with augmented reality and virtual reality, humans, like they adapted to the internet, can adapt to automation and use it to enhance their knowledge and human interaction.